What's up, guys? How y'all doing? Today I'm out here at the shop. I got Carnage over there. I'm gonna show y'all what step by step I go through on making a pass in either Carnage, Alcatraz, Armageddon, all the cars I do. Everything's the same, but I had a couple people hit me up and ask me what is the step-by-step go-to deal that I do inside the car. Cranking it up, doing a burnout, backing it up, making a hit at the return road, everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and get you over there to Carnage. I'm gonna get inside the car. I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up and show y'all what step by step I do inside. What's up, guys? Like I said earlier, I done jumped up in Carnage. It's very hot out here. We're down here in Florida. It's very humid. Right now it's, I don't know, 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I'm over here drenched in sweat. But I wanted to make this video because I had a couple people on Instagram and Facebook asking what is step by step of what I do inside the car. So I thought I'd bring this to y'all. Basically, after the car is all set up in the pits, we go up to the starting line or staging lanes, and we sit there for a while. About 10-15 minutes before they're about to call us in, I find out what pairs we're at. And so if I'm like the third or fourth pair going out, it's about possibly 10 to 12 minutes before I actually go to the burnout box. So I'll decide to get inside the car. I'll get strapped up. I wear a lot more stuff than this. I wear an SFI 20 layer suit, so it's a lot hotter in here than it is just this right now. But I get completely strapped up, get my Hans on, helmet, get belts and everything on. I got my man Brian that's usually right here. The last thing he does is hit me with a nut check. Basically what that is I done buckled all myself up and everything. He's got the outside buckle outside the seat here. He's gonna yank on it hard one time. That's gonna push me into the back of the seat and let me get ready. I mean, these cars pull between 3.8, 3.9 G's. I gotta make sure that I'm secured inside the car. There's no loose spins, there's no moving around or nothing. So once I know I'm secured in, Brian will come over to the other side of the car and he'll hook up these radios. We use radios at the track getting backed up. Some people use hands and all that, but we just use radios. We say it's a lot easier. If I have an issue, I got a button up here. I can talk to anybody on my crew. I got 5 headsets for everyone. But anyways, long story, Brian will come over here. He'll hook up my radio. Once he hooks up the radio, he'll go ahead and turn it on. He'll do a radio check, make sure everybody's on the same channel. There's been times we've been on different channels. I get to hear other people like Barry Mitchell and all them, or we'll be on the tracks channel and I get to hear everybody at the track. But so I make sure we're all on our own channel. We ain't messing with nobody and nobody's messing with us. Once he does that, he looks over to the nitrous bottles and he turns the bottles on. Once he turns the bottles on, he shuts that door and he latches that window. That door never opens up again until I get to the end of the track to shut the bottles off. But we turn the bottles on inside the staging lanes. So I get ready, I fire the car up, get everything going. Usually you'll hear me, I try to do everything the same. I follow a couple racers. You got Todd Tutterow, Stevie Jackson. If you look at them, they're precise and they do the same thing every time. I mean, I've made probably, I can't tell you, probably 1,000 passes since I've been about 15 years old. So I try to do everything the same time. But when I fire the car up, you'll hear me, I'll walk the throttle. It just gives a little bit extra fuel inside the throttle bodies, and then we're ready to go ahead and go in. I run a 3-speed turbo 400. So I start out burnout in second gear, and then once it gets up on top of the tire, I throw it in high gear. I let the car roll out. Some people do burnouts different ways. You can come through, I've done it all different kinds of ways. You can come through and just hit the throttle right outside the water box and go ahead and do your burnout. I use a line lock now. We decided that, or we found out that it was better to get the tire temperature close to the racetrack for our liking, what we want to do. So I use a line lock. I come in here, I pump the brakes 3 times. I hold my line lock button down, which is right here on the steering wheel. Hold the line lock button down. I pump it 1 more time. I hold it again, and I'm ready. What the line lock does, it just locks the front wheel so only the rear wheels can spin. I'll go ahead and I'll walk the throttle 1 time so I get up on top of the tire, and then I will feather the throttle. I usually keep it around 5,800, 6,000 RPMs. Once it's up on top of the tire, I throw it into high gear. High gear, I'm still holding the line lock, I'm still feathering the throttle, but it's in high gear now. These cars are extremely fast in the burnout. I bet you, I mean, you got to think, some people are running big tires. I usually run radials. I've ran them both, but you got to think, you're turning that tire back there. I bet you it's probably going 200, 220 mile an hour in the burnout as you're coming through. I mean, 6,000 RPMs, you're holding it for 5-6 seconds as you're doing a burnout. But anyway, so I get up on top of the tire, I throw it in high gear, I let go of the line lock, and I let the car roll out. Me and Dad, we've discussed beforehand, different temperatures outside let us know if I'm going to do a long burnout, if I'm going to do a short burnout, what exactly we do. Usually I don't like to do burnouts across the start line because all you're doing is just taking away the rubber, the spray of what's already there for you. So I'll go ahead and do a burnout. I roll out. Once I hear the tire skirt, I go ahead and throw it in neutral. I roll out. A lot of people don't know this, but I went ahead and if you ever watch me do a burnout to anybody, I will always roll out farther than the guy beside me. I don't care who it is, just something that I do. I don't care if I come to a stop. Jay Cox did it to me whenever I ran him. If I come to a stop and he is rolled out 10 foot in front of me, I threw it back in first gear and I went ahead and drove in front of him so I could stop it in neutral, and then I backed up. It's just something I do. I've always done it. I can't really give you an explanation. It's just something that I like to do. So once I go ahead and do that, I throw it back into reverse. We have a training brake right here that controls the reverse, and that's what holds the car on the starting line. But hit the training brake. I back up kind of fast. There's a lot of people that do not make a pass as fast as I believe we do, getting ready, getting set up. I mean, I think I can do a burnout, back up, get staged, do everything. I can make a hit within 20 seconds if I wanted to, which I believe is pretty fast. But so when I'm backing up, I got Dad in the headset. He's telling me left, right, straighten up, do whatever you want, stop being a dumbass. He says everything. So he backs me up. We get about 5 foot from the starting line, which is where the beams are that sets the tree. He'll back me up about 5 foot from that. Every once in a while he gets messed up. He'll only back me up like 2 foot, and then he'll tell me to go left and right, and I gotta try to tell him I'm pretty fat inside here, so it's hard for me to turn the steering wheel. It's hard for me to turn the steering wheel when I only have 2 foot to go. So sometimes me and him, we get into it, but for the most part he backs me up about 5 to 8 foot behind the beams. 5 to 8 foot behind the beams. I go ahead and throw the car in neutral. We got a nitrous switch in here. I turn my nitrous on. I control my own valves. Like I said, Brian turns the bottles on, he shuts that door and locks it. Nobody opens that door unless I have some kind of issue. This door open, the driver door does open. That just fans any kind of smoke that's coming out. But I go ahead and turn my valves on. When I turn my valves on, I go ahead and purge my motor out. Like I said, I don't run high bottle pressure, so you don't see me up there like some of these other guys that purge out a whole bottle. They be sitting there for 15-20 seconds purging nitrous out for no reason. They're just wasting money, or they just got long pockets. I don't know which one it is. But I go ahead and hit a couple quick purges and get me around my bottle temperature that I want to run at that time. It does fluctuate. Me and Dad, we figure out what we want to do throughout the passes, throughout the day, if we're in the sun or at night, just different stuff. So I went ahead and purged it out. Now I'm ready to go. So I tell Dad, I go ahead and give him a go ahead and say I'm good. This door shuts and latches. This door does not open back up until I get to the other end of the track, or if something was to happen. But Dad's go ahead, he's behind the car, he's still telling me what to do as we come into the beams. I got Brian up there by the beams. He's over there, or Dad's back there telling me left, right, do whatever I gotta do. Usually I'm pretty straight. I'm going ahead and rolling forward. Brian finds out where the beam is at. He then marks back 6 to 8 inches and puts a mark. That's where he brings my front tire. The next 6 or 8 inches is on me. I go in when I want to. I do what I want. I'm comfortable there. So once Brian gets that set, he'll bring me up to his foot. He'll go ahead and you'll see him sometimes get a little carried away. I feel like he's gonna punch a hole in my fender. But he'll smack the front end or the fender, and then he goes back to the rear of the car. That lets me know that everything is good. So I went ahead, when I'm rolling up to him, I'll throw it back in neutral. come back in neutral, and I'll sit there and wait. I typically wait until I see the other guy light his first bulb. When he lights his first bulb, most people will hear me. That's why I say I'm persistent, and I like to keep everything the same. So when I see that first bulb lit, I know it's ready to go. I'm still in neutral. I'll go ahead and walk the throttle 3 times. I hit one quick whop. I go ahead and hit one more whop, and then I do a big whop. That's just what I do. I've always done it. If you watch all my races, I do everything the same way. So now I'm getting ready. I make sure I'm strapped in one last time. I strap myself down real quick. I pull down nice and tight. I'm getting comfortable in the car. Now we're going to go ahead and throw it in the first gear. So we're getting ready. As I'm coming into beams, it matters if I'm left or right lane. Right lane's a lot easier to see the tree. Left lane, you got the pillar right here. It's kind of confusing sometimes. But for me, say I'm in the left lane, okay? So what I'll have to do is I got to figure out where the tree's at, because different tracks are different. So once I find the tree, I'm like, all right, good. So I done walked the throttle. I'm in first gear. I'm ready to go in. I do not focus on anything else except for that top bulb on that tree. There's three amber bulbs. There's a green light and there's a red light. I focus on the top bulb. Stevie Jackson said it the best. He got the 5-finger discount. I watch all his videos. I listen to him. I learn by him. My dad, he's taught me different ways on how to stage, on how to do anything. But I like the 5-finger discount. I like me over anybody in the other lane when it comes to cutting a light on the tree, especially if there's money on the line. Guarantee that I'm gonna cut a better light than you. But anyways, so I look over to the tree. Sometimes it's different. Sometimes I'm really way over here in the car because I got to be able to see around the pillar. So I go ahead and set my first bulb, and it matters if we're qualifying, eliminations, but usually on qualifying you want to get in as shallow as you can. So on my cars, I do have brake lights. Sometimes you'll see the videos, you'll see the brake lights go in and out. That means I'm in here feathering the brake. I'm trying to get that bulb to barely turn on. I mean, barely. You'll see that thing twitch. You know, kind of like the turbo guys bumping in and out and shit. I mean, they're gay when they do it. But we just barely try to get it twitched because we try to get as much ET as we can. So so I go in, I roll in, I'm at the first bulb. I'm over there feathering the brake pedal to get into the second bulb. When I see the second bulb is lit, it matters if he's already in or if he's not in. But no worries, if the second bulb is lit on my side, I smash the training brake. Once I smash the training brake, I come off the brake pedal. My left foot is useless inside this car. It does not do nothing else other than that. Once I am on the training brake, that is it. So my left foot, I just put off to the side. It's like halfway dead over there, just dangling. I'm holding the training brake till either he comes in on the beam or I'm already in, he's already in, then I go up on the brake. If he was already in, I would smash the throttle. With fuel injection, you don't really see, like with carbureted motors, you'll see people bring the RPMs up and do all that. You don't have to do none of that with fuel injection. Actually, with fuel injection, if you try to roll the throttle or try to bring the RPMs up, when you go to stab it, it's going to cough on you. It's going to backfire. I've seen it done plenty of times. So what I do is when I roll into the beams, I smash the throttle. It goes all the way. I have a throttle stop down there at the bottom. I smash the throttle. I'm up on the training brake now, which is allowing the converter to come up till it gets to its spot and it's holding the car. Like I said, you got the 5-finger discount. Whenever you see any amber, these cars react very fast, but your reaction's got to be just as fast too. So when you see any amber, it's automatically come off, no matter what. I mean, dude, I can sit here inside the car and do that all day long. Like I said, I like me over anyone when it comes to being on the tree. But, so now we're done left. We're going down the track. For the most part, car is ran by the electronics. It shifts the car by itself. I shift off nitrous. Some people use CO2. I just hook my nitrous into it. I hook my shifter and my parachute is ran off my nitrous bottles. Most of the time, the cars will shift by themselves. There has been videos that I've posted out there where I had malfunctions in my wiring or inside the computer. Something happened. Not everything is perfect. Where I had to shift the car. I've drove cars so long, I know what it feels like. I know how, when I'm going down the track, if I know where I'm supposed to shift at. If I'm supposed to shift at 400 foot, at the 330 marker, if I'm there and I hear the car whining, I will take a glance over. I really can't see what I'm looking at, but I know my car so well, I can look at the shifter and tell if it is went into high gear or not. If not, there's been times I've had to bang it into high gear. So there's your second right there. As you're going down the track, I've had to bang it into high gear. And we come back around, we try to fix it. For the most part, 90% of the time, 95%, the car shifts itself. I'm holding the steering wheel, just trying to keep it straight on down through the track. But, so anyway, so we're coming down through the track. You done went through all gears. You're up in a 200 mile an hour range. It's time to pull the parachute. Not all the times do I pull the parachute until I had an accident one time. I lost all brake pressure. I was going down the track. I was being lazy. I didn't like packing the chutes. So I decided I was going to make a hit. And when I went down the track, I got to the end. I did not pull the chute. I was on the brakes so hard that I lost brake pressure. I was scared shitless. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was coming towards the end. I didn't really panic. I just knew that I didn't have no brakes. So the only thing I knew to do was to just pump them up again, and luckily I found some kind of brake pedal. It got me a little slowed down. I had to make the turn about 40 mile an hour, but from that day forward, I pull my chutes no matter what. Unless I'm making like a 330 hit or I kick the tires, that's it. But if I make a full pass, I am pulling my chutes. They will save you every time. What I do is I'm coming down through the track. I get about 50 foot from the 8th mile marker, and I go ahead, as I'm going down the track, you'll see me. Some people run a button on their steering wheel, which I have that in Alcatraz. On this car, I do not have a cylinder up here, so I have to pull the parachute by hand. So I get about 50 foot from the finish line. My hand's already up here. 50 foot, I dump the chute. It'll grab the chute at the 8th mile marker. I try to get it out as quick as possible, but I don't want to get it out too quick where it scrubs ET off. So that's what I do is I dump the chute. I go ahead and make sure the cars are under control. Once it's under control, I throw the car in neutral. There's your high gear. I throw the car in neutral. I reach up. I shut the ignition off. Once that's done, I'm just cruising down the track now. I'm waiting till I get to the end. I get around the other side. Like I said, there's some people, even in Alcatraz, I run it off a button. It's ran off of my nitrous bottle. So whenever you push this button over here on the steering wheel, it automatically shoots the launcher out. But for this car, I got to do it by hand. I've done it both ways. I've drove long enough. It's a second nature deal. I mean, no matter what, even there's times where the button doesn't work, you'll know if the chute has deployed. As you're going down the track, I mean, like I said, it pulls 3.8, 3.9 Gs. Now you're going to be in negative 3.94 Gs. I mean, because you're literally going to pull you into the seat belts. That's just what it does. You're going 200, 202, 203 mile an hour. I mean, Mike just went 204. He weighs 135. I bet you if he didn't have seat belts, he'd go out the front windshield. I mean, anybody would. It's just how it is. So once we get to the other end of the track, I done turned around. I'm getting unbuckled. I turn my nitrous valves off. Once they're off, I reach up here. I hit the purges. And that's basically just purged everything out of the motor. So I go ahead and get out of the car. I turn my radio off. I go around to the other side of the car. That's when that door has now opened. I turn my bottles off. And then I go ahead and pack my chute while I'm back there in case I kick the tires or something. But if I made a full hit, I already packed the chute. Most of the time, I have my chute packed before my guys come down there and get me. It just makes it a lot easier. And it doesn't waste no time when you're in the pits. So once my guys come get me, we get hooked up. We try to get back to the pits as soon as we can. We get the motor cooled down. We maintenance it. And we get ready for either the next round, next qualifying session, or just test hits. But I mean, that's basically how it is. I mean, there's a lot of different drivers out there that might do stuff different way. I fell in a sequence of what I do, and it's worked for me. I've won a lot of grudge races. I mean, I've lost some too. But that's just how I drive. It don't matter what car I get in, I stay consistent, and I believe I'm a better driver that way, because if I was all over the place, you wouldn't be able to get right. Like ET wise, if some of y'all may not think it, but if you roll the beams in farther than what you did previous, you're going to lose ET, and you may lose 4 or 5 numbers off of it. I mean, and then you're sitting there back there thinking, well, what happened to the numbers? Why didn't I go as fast? But it's all got variables in the racetrack. So everything's with numbers out there. That's how you get faster. It's how technology and numbers. That's the way to go. It's how you get fast. Unless you got them turbo queers, they're just like, I don't know. They come out of the FedEx truck fast. I mean, they're UPS horsepower. That's what we call them. You put them on there. All you do is spool, hit the button a couple times. They rock in and out of the beams. And then they go down there and they go 220 mile an hour. So I haven't figured it out yet, but it is what it is. Some people like it. I'm not a big fan of it. I'll be a nitrous guy all the way. I try to keep nitrous alive. There's a couple of us out there. You got me, Jamie Hancock, Jack Green, all them guys. But for the most part, we're trying to keep the nitrous cars alive. But so anyways, I know I kind of went through that pretty fast. I wanted to show y'all exactly what I do inside the car to when I have to make a pass. And it's no different than I get inside any car. Alcatraz, when I was in Apocalypse, Armageddon. I've ran a small block car. It don't matter what it is, no matter how big the motor is. I don't care if it runs 580s or if it goes 360s. I do everything the same way, no matter what. Anyways, guys, thank you for sitting here and watching my little video. Like I said, I got new hats in, new merchandise. Yes, I need a haircut. Over here, I can't afford a haircut. I got a race car, so it takes all my money. But anyways, I got new merchandise. I'm gonna go ahead and put a link down below. Smash that subscribe button. We got a lot more videos coming out. Me and Mike. We got 2 new cars coming out: Radio vs. the World and a No Time car. I sold Carnage, so I just wanted to do a video in here real quick before the owner came and got it this weekend.